introduce ourselves. My name is Aaron Soto. This is Jonathan Crawford, Craig Koroscil, John Cudd. We were the developers assigned to the Pets on Wheels team. And before I get too far here, I want to give a shout out to the GiveCamp organizers. We, at least several of us, are returning GiveCampers, and we had a fantastic start here in that the requirements and documents that were laid out for us in advance were incredibly helpful. So when we arrived here, we knew that Pets on Wheels had an existing website set up where they were tracking not only, this is their live page, where they're tracking, they have a public side and also a members-only side. So all of this was done custom, handed off from developer to developer, and so we kind of took that on and championed it on. So our entire development effort was focused on making this as maintainable and as friendly to future volunteers as possible. So with that in mind, a couple of requirements that were given to us, for starters, was the volunteer application process. As it stands right now, this was a form that would get filled out, emailed, and then they would log in and type it back in the website. Seemed like we could cut out the middleman there. So automating this form a little bit, doing some form validation, pretty simple there. The rest of it was all on the back end. So they have a system to track volunteers, but not necessarily those pets associated with the volunteers. So one of our goals was to expand the current framework to include what pets are under each member. Let's see, what else here?
Not only would they turn around and type it back in the website, they would also email confirmation back manually to the volunteers and try to track pets manually without the database. So it's a long, drawn-out process for Vicky to maintain here. And her trying to grow and expand into a real executive director position and maintain multiple different groups and different regions, and each region have multiple volunteers, and each volunteer have multiple pets. She really was really limited in what she had when we started, so we wanted to expand and automate a lot of that so she could really step back and maintain that.
And as we drilled into this process more and more, we saw ways that we could automate this, and that was one of the focuses. And again, because Vicki and David, who had fleshed out these requirements so well, and I assume coordination with a lot of GiveCamp admin folks, that meant that we understood their processes quite a bit, and we could automate a lot of these email sendings and a lot of the form entry and progression from stage to stage. So with that, let's go. So I will caveat this with right now. Sorry, we're going to turn on.
Tower.
It's not tower, it's server. About that. Let's take this first.
Yeah, so right now it's not open live because he has to merge all the files with what already exists, and we modified the table structure, so it's going to be a little bit of work to make everything go live. So right now he's running everything off of the server sitting over in the other room. Which
wow, sorry, which server would that be?
That would be Aaron Soto's, the biggest geek.
The biggest geek?
Yes.
It's just one of his virtual servers. Yeah. There's plenty to spare.
So one of the ideas here is that we had this existing members backend here, which was tracking, let me go for the welcome page, is tracking.
You have to log out. Because they haven't entered.
Oh, yeah, and that. So part of this was as well to guide folks through the process. So for instance, if you log in and you don't have a pet, it immediately takes you to the page that you need to be at. Let's see, Johnson. So they use a last name and association with a PIN to log in. These are assigned to members, and then they're brought in. So this is how a member would track just the visits that they've logged. And you can see down here they have a spot that as they visit facilities, they track not only how long they were there, but also how many people they visited, and to track just the comments field so they can track other details relevant to them. So they can put in a visit here, see the various facilities. This was all here. But one of the issues that we had was trying to make this as friendly as possible in terms of expanding the data on the back end. So they had addresses and things like phone numbers. This was originally kept as V cards. So one of the constraints that we had to work with is that that's how they track locally with an Outlook all of the volunteers in the facilities. So
with no way to update that information unless they sent a new V card back to you, and then you merge them successfully.
Right. So I again, as all of this is hand rolled, the back end is very tricky, and there's a lot of these fields for us to keep track of. So in any case, we can add visitors here, and what we did was to expand this to include pets as well. So to include the various requirements for those pets, vaccinations, also to include a temperament screening, which is where they bring the pets in to make sure they're not too jittery, and they'll work well in these kinds of environments. So not only are this is a two-tiered system where they're tracking not only stats about the pet, but then Vicki and other administrators can come in and change these dates to actually activate those pets and allow them to see the facilities they can go to and to participate in the program fully. So there's a whole permissions model that we had to build in here as well.
Go over what the process was for a new applicant before we did all the automation.
So originally, come to the website, you go to your application form here, this guy, you fill all this out, send it in, she gets the email, types it back into the site again, and then at that point contacts the volunteer kind of offline to say, hey, we need your health certificate. Just usually shoot me an email again manually. The volunteer sends them a health certificate again manually. She enters, she files that and then goes in and marks, shoots the volunteer an email to say, hey, let's schedule an appointment again manually. The volunteer responds with screening time. They arrange that manually. Then the screening is done, and after presuming that succeeds, she goes in and marks them as active manually. A lot of automation to be done. So we were not able to get all of those steps removed, but I think
essentially now
we knocked out.
pretty much what they do now is they fill out this form, and they click submit on this, it automatically generates the email, sends it to the volunteers saying that you need to get your vaccinations and health certificate and all that. And also redirects them to the add pets page, right? And at that point, then they can automatically add the pets into the database, which they didn't have before.
Again, the volunteers doing this.
Right, volunteers adding in there. So then we have the pet information. And at that point,
now this is the first time that Vicki will even be bothered with this. And that, okay, so we have someone who's actually serious, so now we're going to go ahead and send Vicki an email and say, all right, you're going to be getting information from this person.
Still kick out the V cards so she can track that out.
Keep the V cards. Can't get the V cards.
She wanted to do that.
Yes. So now that the person's actually serious and is halfway through the process, she can enter in. When she gets that certificate, she'll put in the information, and then it'll automatically kick off an email to schedule the screening time. So the part that we did not get to, but as the groundwork is laid, is that the scheduling can now potentially be done online as well. So the person can come up, go ahead and register for a time. But unfortunately, we just ran out of time for that one.
Yep. She has full control now over active and inactive volunteers and active and inactive pets. So she can track it better and limit people what they can do. So the difference between the active and inactive just means that they can now access different pieces to see what facilities they can go to or not.
Right. So that was the majority of the website.
Another cool stuff.
Yeah. So John Crawford came onto our team kind of at the last minute with a Java background, and between he and Jim, they had this really interesting idea that he fleshed out for us, and I think it turned out quite well.
On the website side,
website, and you put all this data in manually to keep track of it.
So, part of the issue is there's actually a dollar application to it. Some of the grant funding that they receive is based on volunteer hours, how many people you've spoken to. So it's important to capture this information. You want to make it as easy as possible. And a lot of folks have cell phones, Androids. And so what we did was we created a little Android app. And basically what happens is on their phone they now have this little Pets on Wheels app that when they click on that, it'll remember who they were. I'll show you log in just a moment. So, hey Vicki, you're not checked in. Thanks for being a part of Pets on Wheels. And when she clicks check in, in the meanwhile, as soon as it opened, it went looking to figure out where she's at. So
And there's the GPS icon on top there.
it's using both GPS and network triangulation to figure out what are the 5 closest locations to where she currently is. So it automatically lists in terms of closest. Now obviously they're based out of the Baltimore area, so there's not a whole lot really close here. But in addition to the 5 closest, there's a couple of special cases here. So, for example, you could be going to an event, which doesn't really have a fixed location. You could be going to someone's house, in which case you put that in the comments. And you've also got the ability to say, oh, God, I got here a half hour ago and totally forgot. And my emulator still thinks it's 7 p.m. We'll pretend we got here at 6 p.m. Forgot to check in.
A Microsoft product would know what time it was.
And we can set up a reminder so that, you know, I need to leave in 30 minutes. So buzz me in 30 minutes. I'm going to check in now. I'm checked in. Lets me know I'm here. At this point now, the phone goes back to normal, and she can go about to revisit pet therapy, spending time. We've got, for demonstration purposes, we've changed it so that instead of minutes, it's seconds. So in just a few seconds, what we're going to get is a notification at the top. When we're not able to make the emulator beep, it was about 2 hours wasted. They would come in this thinking notification tone. It doesn't. Microsoft would have put a notification tone in, and you couldn't turn it off. All right, so if I can get this to drag open, there we go. Yay. All right, so I have a reminder from Pets on Wheels to check out when I leave. And if I click that, it takes me to the checkout screen. Now, if I don't do it that way, and I just happen to see my little Pets on Wheels icon, I can also come in from here, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to say, hey, you're currently at a home visit, so it's time to check out. Great. We're leaving at 7:04. We visited 2 people, perhaps. And I'm supposed to enter into the comments that
That's what they set up.
and now we'll check it. Well, we're going to have notification.
I'm going home.
No longer have a notification when the GPS is turned off.
Very cool.
That's updating Vicky's database real time and authentication and all that stuff, so she can track that on the website also. And the member can also log in and watch everything that they log from the phone on the website.
So that's already out there?
And that is now available on the Android market.
Yeah.
And has even gotten a user review.
Central Maryland GiveCamp